It'd be nice to have a wider mandolin, but I don't need that most of the time, and I only do sauerkraut once a year, so I don't want to have a tool that I only use once a year. So after cutting the cabbage in half, it has to be repositioned, and things like this will have to get manually chopped. This bowl isn't just for filming purposes, it really helps to keep this up because the angle is just too steep for me. But you know, play around with what you got. Pieces like this, I'll slice up manually later when I have a whole bunch. Oops. Because I'm moving this around, I can't use the guard that comes with the mandolin. Make sure I keep it set to the thickest, which is still pretty thin, much thinner than if I'd manually cut this. Now you notice I didn't remove the core. Keeps it all together nicer. So about 5 minutes for half a head of cabbage. Per ball, Blue Book's instructions, for 25 pounds of shredded cabbage, it's 1 cup of salt. And my batches come out way too salty at the end, and I have to rinse and do some other stuff. So I'm trying to do this a little differently. So if I did the math correctly, there are 16 tablespoons in 1 cup. So divide that by 5, since this is 1/5. This is only 5 pounds of shredded cabbage here, and I did weigh it. It comes out to a little bit more than 3 tablespoons of salt per the ball Blue Book. I'm halving that, so I'm going to just do 3. This is a half cup measuring spoon. And it's easier to mix it here than in the bucket. This is a lot of shredded cabbage to try to move around. And then I'll put this into the bucket. So I have 2, well, I got more than 2 of these dustpans. If you looked at my redneck remodeling, kitchen remodeling, you'll see that I use these as drawers in my bottom cabinets. And when we moved, I still have several of them over here because they were great to just load up and carry. And boxes that you are not so sure of the bottoms, you know, if they're going to hold together, and you can put it into these things, and they were great. So, multiple uses. I got one that I'm shredding in that you saw earlier, and then this one I'm going to put 5 pounds in each time, and 1.5 tablespoons of salt, and mix it before putting it into the bucket and trying to get this all compressed in. I shredded 16 heads of cabbages, and it came out to almost 42 pounds, and about but more than half of that is in here, already weighed down. Using an airlock, and for the first time on sauerkraut, and a gamma lid, and trying something a little bit different, talking to some friends on canning groups and food preserving groups on Facebook, and some of the things that they did. So you can see I didn't add water. Some of them add water or a brine solution, and this is all liquids coming out of the cabbage. So I do have, it's hard to tell, I do have a 4-ounce little jar in there with water and a lid on it, and just to keep this pressed in down. I don't have it on this, but I took what I did was, the first time I filled the 5-gallon bucket with 20 pounds worth, I decided to transfer them into these jars and see that, because I realized I wasn't going to fit all of it in that one bucket, and I didn't want to empty out another bucket and clean it and have 2 buckets going. So I thought I would try the jars and see how these are, and these will get sampled a lot more regularly than the bucket. So I will check, do things, and I don't think I need to video that unless something funky shows up. But these are going to be sampled a lot more than the what I would do out of the bucket. I would just make sure that things are okay in the bucket, nothing is growing that shouldn't be growing, and these will be shared also. Kind of excited to see this is a little different, a lot less salt, half the salt, less than half the salt that I normally used, and hopefully I don't have to rinse and keep all the goodies all in place. So yeah, big old pickle jar. Don't buy them like, I don't buy that anymore. So, anyway, I'll have an update in 5 to 6 weeks. Thanks for watching.